Hey everybody, Chris Englebert with Englebert Financial Advisers in Allentown, Pennsylvania. And guess what? The first 6 months of the year have flown by. We are now going to be doing the July investment strategy update. Where has the time gone so far in 2024? We always start out with a cartoon, and this may be a little bit painful, but what's on everybody's mind the back half of the year? It's going to be obviously the presidential election and what's happening out there. Now, I always counsel people, and I don't want to get political here, but you've got to focus much more on the economy and what's happening in the world than what's going on with the presidential debates, the polls, the elections, etc. Because in the long run, none of that really matters. What really matters is how you invest your money. So don't get caught up in all the extraneous information that's flying out there about who the candidate's going to be or may not be, etc. Make sure you're paying attention to what's happening in the U.S. economy. And what's happening is that if you look at the S&P 500, it has rocketed to new all-time highs on the back of artificial intelligence. So the problem that we're having, though, is that the rally is getting narrower and narrower. So we're seeing changes on a monthly basis where Microsoft leads, and then Apple leads, and NVIDIA leads. Now Amazon is leading. The Magnificent Seven have really kind of picked up the handle again and really forced the market higher, but less and less stock participants are participating. And if you look at it, I can almost make the case that the soldiers are leaving the field, the generals are still out there on the field. So we are cautious at this point. The other thing that happens from a historical basis is I've been around a long time, and when you go into the July 4th weekend, everybody's excited about fireworks and hot dogs. But when you come back, that's when analysts start downgrading stocks and their earnings potential for the rest of the year going into the third and fourth quarter. So what's happening with interest rates? We're beginning to see some softening in the jobs numbers around the edges. We also, by the time you see this video, there'll be some inflation measures that actually look like they're getting better, but we are cautious about that as far as the inflation measures go. And we have seen interest rates float down towards the lower end, right around 4.25 on the 10-year Treasury. We think that anytime interest rates back up to 4.5 to 4.75% on the 10-year, it's a buying opportunity for longer-term bonds. Right now, we are still buying bank CDs. You can get a 3-month bank CD at 5.45% as of the date of this video. If you want to do some bank CDs, give me a call. We can check the rates because obviously they change on a daily basis. So the other thing that we're watching very closely is the price of crude oil. This is a long-term crude oil chart. And why do I watch the price of crude oil? It's because it's one of the biggest inflation measures out there. Not only the price of crude oil and gasoline, but all of the components that are made from crude oil, all of the plastics, all the manufacturing inputs. You've got to be aware of what crude oil is doing. And you can see that crude oil is approaching a breakout pattern here. If we get above the mid-80s on crude oil, we could obviously challenge the highs back in April, and we might even get over $100 a barrel. If that happens, all of those inflation numbers will start to ramp up again. So keep your eye on crude oil, i.e. gasoline prices. So to sum it up, the Magnificent Seven group of stocks came back to life in June. It's powered the S&P 500 to a new high. The Dow Jones is not in a new high at this point in time. But we are seeing softening employment numbers during the July 4th weekend. On that Friday, you'll see the unemployment numbers for June. Take a note of what's happening there. And then again, we do not believe that inflation is dead at this point in time. We think most recently it's moderated, but you've got to watch crude oil prices to see if inflation is going to rear its ugly head the back half of 2024. So that's the July 1st of the month update. We thought we'd make it short and sweet so everybody can enjoy the weekend. We'll be back. Talk to you soon.